Let's be honest, we're all victims of one thing, peer pressure. But not just any kind of peer pressure, the South African kind. The type that convinces you that if you don't buy Jordans, you're a Skotane. Or if you don't throw R1,000 birthday party, you're a failure to even your ancestors. And because of that, South Africa's youth are so broke, we are out here making even the Zimbabwean bank accounts look like Jeff Bezos' bank accounts. And why? Not because the economy is bad, although that is a pretty good excuse, but because of one other thing. We're spending money we don't have on things we don't need to impress people we don't even like and who don't even know we exist. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, umlungu and umlungu-esque, I come to you today with a burning issue that's been holding you and I back as a nation. No, it's not load shedding. No, it's not potholes. Instead, it's something way more sinister. The invisible tax we pay every single day. The tax of peer pressure. And let me tell you, it's worse than e-tolls. Peer pressure in South Africa is not just a pastime. It's a sport. You thought rugby was intense? Try surviving December in the hood without buying a new outfit for every braai. Try pulling up to a groove with a Volkswagen Polo Vivo when your friends are rolling in their rented GTIs, once they are still paying off at 28% interest, mind you. South African youth don't have role models. We have flex models. We're all about looking the part, whether or not our bank accounts can handle the heat. But don't worry, I'm not just here to drag you. I'm also here to wake you up and maybe even save you from, let's face it, yourself. So let's start at the beginning, shall we? South African peer pressure begins in very early stages of your life. Yes, earlier than you think. Before you even mastered tying your school shoes, there was always someone who already asked, why don't you have Nike techies like the rest of us? Forget whether your family can afford school fees or bread. If your sneakers don't have a swoosh, you're automatically labeled cheap. And you just had to fit in, just like everybody else. And it gets worse, because by the time you were in high school, the peer pressure levels are practically varsity level economics. Have you ever seen teenagers at Groove? They are 17, 16, even 15 sipping expensive Hennessy bottles they couldn't even spell last week. Meanwhile, their poor mothers are at home wondering why the groceries ran out after one weekend. In the hood, it's even more intense. From my experience in the hood, your street cred isn't built on your character or hard work. It's built on just how much cash you can throw around recklessly. If you're not wearing Kavela shoes or flashing a Panda Pezulu lifestyle, you might as well change your surname to outsider. Bear in mind, I say all this from my own experience with peer pressure. Peer pressure nearly killed me in middle school. And I don't say that to exaggerate. I wish I did. That unnatural urge I had to try and fit in with the cool kids or the other guys who did not share the same values and morals I did cost me big time. And when I say big time, I mean Boy Titulo's butt big. I'll give you an example. So there was a time where I covered for one of them when they had an item that wasn't allowed on school premises, right? And when the principal found out I lied for them, I lost my class captain privilege. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, especially if you're an adult watching this, but I was a 7th grader at the time, okay? 7th grade, class captain. You can't tell me a confident kid like myself at the time wouldn't be over the moon about something like that. And that was just one of the many times I'd get in trouble with them. Not because they gave a shit about me or anything. Maybe they did, but then again, I was just trying so hard to be just like them, to get the girls, to get to school late, all of that junk. I was just trying to fit in really hard. The hardship you experienced in trying to fit into those new skinny jeans you bought once upon a time is nothing compared to what I faced. Because I just couldn't accept the fact that I was different from everybody else. And it's not just that. There were other times when we'd get in trouble. For example, I'd be one of the boys questioned by the teachers. I'd tell the truth and then I'm treated like absolute garbage by them and by all the cool kids. The same cool kids I tried so hard to please. Of course, when you look at it as an adult, this is emotional bullying at its finest. Right? I was the right kid for telling the truth, and they were wrong for making me feel that way. And they were wrong for making me feel that way, for making me feel like I was wrong by telling the truth. But just do me a favor, look at it from my shoes 8-9 years ago. I am doing my best to be your friend, to be like you. And the moment I slip up, you forget all the times I stuck up for you. You forget all the times I gave you some of my lunch, if not all of it when I just felt kind that day or didn't feel like eating. You'd forget all the times I made you laugh, all the times I was there for you when you were in pain and gossiped about the other buddies you used to hang around with and loved to hang around with. You forget about all of that, and now when the one time I slip up, I'm an outcast to you. I'm nobody to you now. Now I never existed. Not one single apology, not one single summer I was an asshole, please understand, because your ego and habit of playing victim won't let you. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I sure as hell had the balls to apologize to you when I did something wrong, which was most of the time because of your pathetic ego. But let's face it, those apologies fell to deaf ears because you were too arrogant to listen to me most of the time. You thought you were better. You thought you were clever until I saw through your mask and dipped and changed for the better. And now after all these years, they want to come back and act like nothing happened and we were always buddies in middle school because your guilt and arrogance is stopping your balls from growing, being a man and apologizing for being an inconsolable, despicable, diabolical, empty-headed, dumb fuck that called himself my friend when it benefited him the most? Because here's the cold hard truth. South African peer pressure is an organized crime syndicate, and flex culture is the mafia boss. You can't escape it. Every December, we are out here acting like we are Forbes millionaires. Watch my video on that, on the New Year's thing. People are buying new outfits, new furnitures, even new families, just to flex for the neighbors. Let's not forget Makoya Sundays. You'll see some 21-year-old guy throwing 2,000 rand cash at strippers in a club, while his landlord is waiting for him to pay the rent. But it's okay because the boys hyped him up. Uyinja bro, ubeza strong. Meanwhile, he'll be drinking tap water for the rest of the month, convincing himself that next month is the one where he breaks free from the system. And let's talk about the groove culture here, because that connects with the story I just told you. Groove culture is the financial black hole for South Africans. You come out with the intention of spending 300 rand, but somehow end up spending 3,000 rand, even though your wallet had only 200 rand to begin with. How? Oh, because your friend said ayikho itable mfethu. Uyazi ukuthi ama haters kufanele basibone kahle. Suddenly, you're splitting a bill for bottles you didn't even order. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say, the fake Gucci in the closet, the infamous soft life. I am so fed up with that phrase. If I hear one more person say, I don't want to struggle, I want a soft life, I might just scream and shoot them down. Because listen, there's nothing wrong with wanting to live comfortably. But the problem is, we want the rewards without the work, right? We've turned soft life into an aesthetic rather than an actual goal. People are taking selfies in luxury Airbnbs pretending they own the place. We've got Instagram influencers giving financial advice while owing Capitec loans. I mean, my ninja, you cannot preach about generational wealth when you are still borrowing airtime from Vodacom. And the worst part, we are chasing this soft life to impress other broke people. You are not fooling anyone. That Gucci belt isn't going to fix the fact that your fridge is emptier than Cyril Ramaphosa's promises. And let's not forget where this madness started. Skotane culture. For those who don't know, Skotane is a lifestyle where people literally burn money and expensive items to prove how rich they are. Yes, you heard me correctly. Burning money. That's like watching your bank account die in high definition. South Africa is the only country where people will destroy things they can't afford just to prove they're better than someone else. You'll see someone out there burning, like for me, I once saw someone burning 5,000 rand worth of clothes in the name of clout, while his parents were at home eating pap and cabbage because I went to his house that very same day. So what's the solution? How do we escape this peer pressure matrix? Well, here's the first step. Take notes. Learn the art of saying, I don't give a fuck. When your friends laugh at you because you're wearing Mr. Price, laugh with them. Who cares? At least Mr. Price doesn't come with 28% interest, if you know what I'm saying. Second, I hope you're writing this down. Stop trying to compete with people who are lying to you. Half the people flexing on social media, renting Lamborghinis, using filters, fake designers, or their mom's credit card. Stop competing with these people. Competing with them is like racing with someone with a stolen car. It's pointless, and you will both crash eventually. Third, start building actual wealth. Save your money, invest it, start a side hustle. I don't know, do something that your future self will thank you for. I promise you, if you do that, your future you won't care about Jordans or a bottle service at Gonka. So South Africa, you need to wake up because peer pressure is keeping you broke. Not me. Do I look broke to you? But it doesn't have to be this way. We can break free. You can say no to the flex culture. You can say no to the groove and the unnecessary spending. So stop impressing people who don't care about you. Stop impressing people who don't matter and start building lives that do. Otherwise, you'll end up in the same cycle I warned you about in my previous video. Broke, bitter, and wondering why Zimbabwe is starting to look like a step up from this country. So next time someone tries to peer pressure you, just say this. Nyabonga, kodwa mina ngi right. For those of you who don't understand what that means, it means thank you, but I'm alright.